All right, guys. So we are live with another episode of this week's Girl, Is That Legal? And this week we are talking defamation, and some harassment. Now, it seems like defamation is just the word of the week. Between the Tasha K and Cardi B lawsuit, as well as some of the drama that's been heating up on Ready to Love behind the scenes after the DC show, I thought this will be a great time to break down what defamation really is for those who may not completely understand. So first, let me make sure everyone can hear me. Thumbs up. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Let's see. There she is. Can y'all hear me okay? Let me see that thumbs up if you can. Yep. Okay, great. So here we go. So first off, let's go over what exactly is defamation. So let's start. I wanted to use the Ready to Love drama. I wanted to use that to simply illustrate what defamation is and is not. So last week, at the end of the week, a young lady named Alex came out and basically said that she was dating Cornelius at the same time that Cornelius and Kamiel were in a committed relationship. Well, she then posted that she would be doing an interview. And almost immediately after that, or right at that time, I noticed that on Kamil's story, Kamiel posted that she wanted a referral for a defamation attorney. So I wondered whether they were related. Of course, I reached out to Kamiel to give her an opportunity to join us, but she said it's not her issue. It's Cornelius's, and she politely declined. So step one is understanding whether or not you have a defamation claim or if that claim belongs to someone else. So one of the things that the young lady Alex shared this past week when she was going live was that Kamiel had inboxed her ex-husband. And in that message, and I'm going to read it out to you, y'all. You got to read this. In that message, she specifically said she was looking to file a defamation suit. It states, let's see here. Here we go. Let's get to the meat of it. It says, "Hi, I know you don't know me well, but I'm writing to you about your ex-wife. She was going around lying to media outlets about my boyfriend, saying that they used to date in an effort to break us up because she, quote, doesn't like me based on my portrayal on TV. Well, she's had a lot of other things to say, but I'm actually about to file a defamation suit because I have proof to her admitting that she was lying. And if you're in contact with her, can you let her know?" Basically, this was Kamiel's. It appears to be her electronic version of a cease and desist letter. Now, let's start with defamation. So defamation is real simple. People throw the word around and don't really know. It's a statement that injures a third party's reputation. It has to injure somebody's reputation, and it's untrue. Okay. This running around saying your boyfriend is also my boyfriend, that wouldn't injure Kamiel's reputation. Okay. So that's not defamatory to Kamiel. And in fact, arguably, it could be true. The other thing about defamation is it only applies to factual statements, not opinions. So I won't go down into the weeds, but effectively, if this girl effectively felt like, based on what Cornelius was telling her and based on the facts of the time that they shared together, that they were boyfriend and girlfriend, then that's her opinion. And you can't be sued for defamation. You can't win if all you're doing is giving your opinion. For example, if I went around and said Cardi B's, coochie stank, she couldn't sue me for saying her coochie stank. That's my personal opinion. Maybe it smells like white diamonds. I hate white diamonds. You see where we're going with that, okay? Has to be a fact, not an opinion. The other thing, somebody said, Kamiel doesn't have the reputation. Right. So it has to negatively harm your reputation. Arguably, Kamiel's reputation has already been a bit tarnished just by her experience on the show. So, secondly, the other part with defamation is when it's somebody that's a public figure, you have to be intentionally making the statement with malice. That's how Cardi B and Tasha K's situation came about. Meaning you have to know it's false and say it anyway. Or you have to have done absolutely no due diligence, made no effort to look into whether or not a statement is true, and made it anyway. All right. So bottom line is, as it relates to the Alex, Kamil, Cornelius situation, there's no defamation claim there between the ladies on either side, right? She hasn't said anything untrue about Kamil, even if they weren't really in a relationship, even if Alex wasn't in a relationship with Cornelius, which, by the way, she's never said they were in a relationship. She said they went on a date out of town, etc. But even if she said, that was my boyfriend, that's not defamation. It's annoying, but it's not defamation. Secondly, it could be harassment. So in harassment, it's like if you call somebody's job, if you continue to call their kids, call their work, try to get them fired. We don't have that here. One time, this girl kept playing on my phone, and her dumb self, she called me. She emailed me one time. She sent me like 4 emails, and one of them was from her work email. So I took those emails and I forwarded them back to her job. I got her fired. So ever since then, she got fired. She had to go on welfare. Every time she swiped her EBT card, she thought of me, and she learned her lesson. So my point is, if you're going to go and involve yourself with like harassment, you got to be really careful, because with harassment, that's where you're continually annoying and bothering someone. Okay. Sorry. She had it coming. That's another story for another day, but that's harassment. So let's wash our hands of that Kamil Cornelius drama, because in the end, everyone has their own opinion, but my opinion personally is I believe that both ladies were told different things from Cornelius, and that based on what they were told, that's what they believe. So I don't think they were lying. I think both of the women were likely lied to. Isn't that how that usually goes? And unfortunately, we tend to bite the other woman's head off instead of going to the man and chewing his head off. All right. Now, Tasha K, y'all. Tasha K. Now, I'm not sure if you had a chance to take a listen, but about an hour ago, Tasha K made a statement. She shouldn't have. She really shouldn't have. These are the kind of statements that make your lawyer wants to fire you. They do. They do. So we'll start with the case. So we all know that Cardi B sued Tasha K. She basically sued Tasha K because Tasha K intentionally and knowingly made videos saying Cardi B had herpes, saying she used drugs, she smoked cocaine, that her kid was likely going to come out with learning disabilities and stuff because she was smoking cocaine, and that she was a prostitute. Now, Cardi B does get money, and she probably does give away her coochie, but we don't have any evidence that she sold it. So for those reasons, Cardi B was pretty livid. What really ticked Cardi B off, though, was actually the herpes allegation. You can call her a prostitute. She celebrates getting money, but she draws the line on herpes, just FYI. So, and what happened here is she made the video. Cardi B got wind of it. Cardi B DM'd her and said, hey, that's not true. Don't publish it. You know what Tasha K had the nerve to tell Cardi B? She had the nerve to say, well, if you come on my YouTube channel and let me interview you, I won't publish it. Y'all, I wish a girl would. I wish a Christian would. That's like blackmailing her. That's like saying, I'm going to put out what I know is false unless you come help me make this money off of the lies I was about to spread on you. So yes, 3 cease and desist letters later, Tasha K still hadn't pulled it down. As of this morning, Tasha K hadn't even pulled down the videos. So ultimately, Tasha K lost because she was dumb enough to make a factual statement that was a lie and provably wrong, and refused to take it down after being given a warning. That's the main thing that warranted these punitive damages that we got here, right? Is because she knew it was false. She was given multiple chances to take it down, but she didn't want to. Why? Because she was making so much money off of the video. She was made more money off the video in this past year than she had ever made in the initial years. She was also gaining subscribers. People would go to her page and try to see what all the fuss was about. And so her page has grown exponentially because of it. But check this out. Stupid, stupid, stupid people. This is what happens. This is what happens with stupid people. So she's lost the lawsuit, right? And ultimately what Cardi B was awarded was this. Cardi B got $1 million for her for her regular damages. She got $250,000 for medical because she talked about seeing a therapist, having suicidal thoughts because of all the hatred coming her way. And ultimately, that $250,000 was knocked down to $25,000. Cardi B agreed to take just $25,000 because really she just had a $5,000 therapist bill, so that was fair. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments. Somebody said Tasha K should have taken the statements down. Absolutely, she should have taken them down. And that's the key question. Why do you guys think she didn't take down the videos? It wasn't actual just plain statements. It was the videos. I believe it was because she was making too much money off of them. I don't think that she ever believed that Cardi B was going to take it as far as she did. And even after, though, being sued, she actually, once she was sued and actually once that got released, she gained even more followers, even more traffic to her site. And that is why the jury awarded what they call the punitive damages. Punitive damages are what you get when you knew good and well what you were doing was wrong and you did it anyway. That's the jury's version of getting a switch, going outside, getting a switch, and whooping your tail in front of the class. Remember when our parents used to do that back in the day? So they whoop your tail in front of the class using punitive damages so that it teaches other people a lesson and they don't do it. Yeah, I definitely think Darlene Noel wrote she has to pay back $3.8 million total. Yep, it's basically $3.8 million when you pull it all together. The regular damages, the attorney's fees, which are like $1.3 million, and the punitive damages. And check this out. A lot of the financial damages, they really could have been prevented if Tasha K would have gotten what's called commercial business insurance. Anybody who has an LLC can and should get it. And guess what? Everybody, even you and me, if you have renter's insurance or homeowner's insurance, you can call your insurance adjuster and pay just a little bit more to add on defamation coverage. Now, in a lot of states, defamation coverage is already included. It's actually covered under your personal injury coverage for your homeowners or your renters. Take a look at your policy the next time you're bored or you're in a snowstorm. Actually, that's not true. Someone said insurance would not have protected her. Wholesaling Tony said that. That's not true. It doesn't. What insurance does is once you are sued, it kicks in to cover your defense. He's saying insurance doesn't cover intentional acts. So that is correct. It absolutely doesn't cover intentional acts, but it does cover defamation. So what would happen is it would kick in to defend on the defamation claims. Okay. So therefore, she would not have had to pay out of pocket for defamation. But what it would not cover is the punitive damages. Because remember, punitive damages were because the jury felt that what she did was intentional and knowing. So it won't cover the punitive damages that she owes, but it will cover the defamation itself. So if you are thinking about being any kind of a blogger or like me, you just got a big mouth, go ahead. Add that little bit of libel coverage. It's actually just a few dollars more a month. I said libel, defamation coverage. It's a few dollars more a month, and it's so worth it because not only would it have covered Tasha K's lawyers, but it would cover the other judgment that she got. It would cover all of that except for the punitive damages part. Hold on. Somebody said D Rich said she basically worked for Cardi B for free. Somebody else said, where Tasha K's husband at? Okay, that was part of my other question when I was thinking about why she didn't take it down. Why her husband didn't? Why was he not one of the ones that was like, hey, it's not worth it. Okay, enough is enough. We got the new followers. We've been monetizing it. Come on now, let's pull it down. But he is a co-owner of the LLC. So indirectly, he was sued too. He was impacted because they added her LLC to the lawsuit as well. And oddly enough, in this case, when they added her LLC, which is where all her YouTube money is funneled, she actually did her damnedest to get the LLC kicked out of the case. Why? Because once you get a judgment against whatever entity is who YouTube pays, you can seize the YouTube money. So now, one of the ways that Cardi B can recover and make sure she gets her coins is by seizing the YouTube income. Where whatever bank account that goes to, she can seize, so that she can even go to a court and ask that it be directed so that instead of YouTube putting the money in her bank account, they put it in Cardi's. There's a lot of steps to that, so I won't go into that. But that's definitely an option. Somebody said Tasha K was saying, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. Absolutely. She broke the veil. Now, Tasha K made a statement today, and it was the most, you have to check it out. It was the strangest, most ludicrous thing. She basically made comments about fighting the good fight, talked about how this is about the First Amendment and about, being a mother who doesn't support prostitution, and how there's like this big media machine out there that does. And she kept talking about prostitution and that she did nothing defamatory. Girl, you lied. At the end of the day, the lady either has herpes or she didn't. They confirmed, they showed the medical record she didn't have herpes. And why you would lie about something that could be tested about was beyond me and super stupid. Yet somebody said she was all over the place in the statement. Yeah, it was super stupid. But then I remembered, when I thought about how stupid all of this was, I had to remember that Tasha K has reminded us multiple times she went to ninth grade, not one, not two, but 3 times. So she is not the smartest pencil in the pack. Okay. We are dealing with one of the slow ones. So we just really got to lower our expectations, I suppose, when it comes to that one. I said she was a mother, but she said this and that. So then I really just wanted to quickly hit one of the other big comments I was seeing, and that I also thought about myself, is she just going to file bankruptcy? So often, is she going to pull a Donald Trump, file bankruptcy, and then never have to pay a dime? Because, that's what our president did every time. He'd build a building, not pay the contractors, they'd sue him. The building would be crappy because he was involved. And he'd just file bankruptcy and nothing would ever happen to him. Well, let me see. Yep, sorry, I'm looking at the comments. Well, actually, bankruptcy isn't going to be that simple. And here's why. So, first of all, in states like Georgia that don't have homestead exemptions, if you file bankruptcy, one of your biggest worries is going to be, well, shoot, if I file bankruptcy, are they going to take my house? So one of the first things I did was to look up and see, how much did Tasha K pay for her house? So here we go. Let me share that picture with you. Let's see if I can pull that one up real quick. While I pull that one up. Yeah, so Tasha K, let me see, here we go. Okay, it's not loading at the moment. Here we go. Oh, here we go. All right. Slowly but surely it's coming, I promise. I want to make sure that I am loading the photo that I redacted because I don't want to accidentally show this lady's address, and then I myself end up getting sued. Oh, here we go. Then when it's not redacted, here we go. Okay. Okay, so you should be able to see it. Okay, so all right, so here we go. So this is Tasha K's house. Y'all, by the way, this is a really easy trick. I can do a video on it later if you would like to show you how to pull up anybody's house who claims they're a homeowner. I got to use this multiple times when guys claim like, oh no, my mom lives with me, she's sick, but really they're lying. They live with their mom. And the way that I found out was because I would just look up their home. Basically, you just go to the tax records, you go figure out what county they claim that they live in, and you go to the tax rolls, put their name in, and boom, if they're a homeowner in that county, as they say they are, it'll pop up. So this is her house. She paid $380,000 for it. Now, according to Zillow, they say her house is worth $568,000. Here's why this matters. This is an example of how when you get this kind of judgment against you, how they can attach to your assets. So with this house, if she paid $380,000, but it's now worth about $580,000, that's $200,000 in equity. What that means is in the state of Georgia, if you file for bankruptcy and you're married, you can only keep about $41,000 worth of equity. The rest of it has to be used to pay down your debt. So what that means is even if she files for bankruptcy, the bankruptcy court can make her sell her house. And even though it's appreciated over $200,000, they'll make her sell it and she only keeps $40,000 of it. And the rest of that go to Cardi B. Could be that Cardi B becomes the owner of the house. They could put a lien against the house. With a lien against the house, that would mean she can keep living in it. She could never refinance it. She could never take out the equity. She couldn't sell it. She couldn't do nothing until she paid off Cardi B. Not just what she owes Cardi B, but paid off what she owes plus the interest. And guys, she's appealing according to her statement today, which I don't see why, because it's cut and dry. The lady didn't have herpes, but she's appealing. So when you go through that appeal, guess what? Interest accrues, and it's usually at a rate of about 8% a year on lawsuits. So that's not going to be, that's not going to be a great move for her. Let's go back from the screen share. Oh, and it says someone says she also owes the IRS. She sure does. So in effect, Tasha B is basically on the hook for about $3.8 million. Bankruptcy is not going to save her. It's not going to save her for two main reasons. One, she's a homeowner with over $200,000 apparently of equity in her house. She'd have to give up her house if she files bankruptcy. And number two is that in the state of Georgia, when the judgment is related to an offense that was committed willfully, as this one was, the punitive damages means it was like willfully with malice, then in that type of instance, you can't simply file bankruptcy to get out of paying your debt. Now, a bankruptcy court might reduce the total amount that she has to pay Cardi B. For example, they could say, all right, she doesn't have enough assets. We're not going to make her pay the entire $3.8 million, but she will have to pay the punitive damages component, that $1.5 million, due to the fact that that was her punishment because she intentionally and knowingly continued to release this information knowing good and darn well it wasn't true. Oh, sorry, you guys couldn't see the house? Okay, let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can share it again. Hold on, let me see. Let's get this house. Let me get this house back up. It was kind of cute. All right. Shoot. Hold on. So I'm trying to pull up the house so y'all can see Miss Thing's little house and share that. Where'd it go? Oh, it's not doing it. Here, let's just do the whole screen. Shoot. All right, y'all can see my whole screen. That's fine. But here is, I think, all right, it's not letting me do it. I'm sorry. But I'll put a link to it. I'll put a link to it on my social media. Okay, the explanation is good. But basically, I went to the tax records, I pulled it up, and then it showed it on Zillow. Someone say her only way out is to beg and plead for forgiveness. Yes, Amelia Pierre said, remember, it's different for every state. Absolutely. Actually, one of the few reasons that I love about Texas and Florida are homestead states. That means I had a friend, he murdered 2.5 people. He murdered 2 people and made somebody a paraplegic and got a huge multi-million-dollar verdict against him. He was living in like a $5 million house. He was able to file bankruptcy and keep his house. And in fact, he could sell his house and then just take that money and move into like a $4 million house and live on the rest, because Texas protects homesteads. They will never, ever make you sell your home to pay anyone's judgment. And in states like Texas, if there's a judgment against you and there's a lien, they cannot put it against your homestead at all. Meaning, if it's the home that you live in as your main residence, not a vacation house, not a rental property, but if it's your main residence, you can't do that. Somebody said, isn't he in jail? Oh, he already did his time. He got like 7 years. It's a very famous case. It's Dallas Cowboy. He's very sorry now, and now he's a motivational speaker, actually. Someone said, are we giving Tasha K a cut of your YouTube earnings? Everybody is eating off of hers. No. She actually made a lot of her money off of Cardi B. So I feel like, is that karma? Is that kind of fair? It's equal use. Like, I don't make any money from my girl is that legal channel. So this is just interesting talk for me. Somebody said, is there a law that Cardi B pardon her? Good question. No, Cardi B can't pardon. Cardi B could choose not to enforce the judgment, but actually the only person who could pardon is if it's a federal criminal case, the president of the United States, or if it's a criminal case, that state, the governor of that state. And a pardon is only for criminal cases. Somebody said karma. Cardi has a few serious charges over her own head. What if she ends up serving time? What would happen then? Well, she could use that money and put it on her commissary books. So nothing would happen. She'd still be entitled to this. And even if there was an appeal or any additional hearings, even if Cardi had to do time, they are required, the law is required to provide her with accommodations to attend any civil hearings that she's a part of. Even if it were in a different state, they'd literally have to either allow her to attend via Zoom from whatever jail she's in or what have you. Now, I think she's referring to, she's currently got some pending charges pertaining to the strip club assault. Apparently a chick who was rumored to be messing with Offset with Offset got beat up in a club, and they claim that Cardi B ordered it. Somebody said it's shady. Not really. Somebody said our governor would never pardon her. So basically, I hope that helped you understand defamation. So basically, defamation is either it can either be slander, which is oral, libel, which is written, statement that's defamatory and untrue about you, that's been made by someone else who generally knew good and darn well or made no investigation into the truth of the matter of a topic. And with defamation, one of the things that you have to be able to show is that it hurt you or your reputation. Also importantly, in Cardi B's instance, she specifically did not claim specific lost earnings or lost wages. The reason she didn't do that is because she did not want to have to provide proof of her tax returns or her earnings or contracts or any of that. And the way to get out of that is by saying, hey, I'm just arguing generally that I was injured and not that I missed out on any specific contracts. And that is how the jury just rounded up and gave her $1 million. And that is how the jury found that not just Tasha K's LLC, where she gets all her YouTube money sent to, but also Tasha K as an individual are both liable. So in the end, if Tasha K is ultimately going to decide to file bankruptcy to minimize, because remember, she can't completely wipe out her debt, but a bankruptcy court could reduce some of this debt. If she's going to do that, guess what? She has to file for both herself and her LLC, which is where all her YouTube money comes to. And that's because both she and her LLC were sued, and both were found to be jointly and severally liable. So what that means is, let's say it was the bankruptcy is wiped out for her personally. That means her LLC, which is what collects all her YouTube money, will have to completely pay the judgment. And that's what she's afraid of, because guess what? If your LLC files for bankruptcy, the bankruptcy judge is going to require you to sell off your assets. What's her most valuable asset? Her YouTube channel. So if she were to file bankruptcy as her LLC to try and get out of paying this, potentially her YouTube channel could literally be up for bids, and perhaps you could become the next Unwind with Tasha K, even though you're not Tasha K and it ain't your channel initially. So I hope this helped. Tune in again next week. We'll be talking more legal drama and legal stuff. And if you've got any legal questions, feel free to email me at attorneysimone@gmail.com. Remember, this isn't legal advice. I'm not your lawyer. Seek your own lawyer. Or if you need help finding one, email me at that same email. Good night, y'all.